What's up, everybody? In this video, we're going to do something a little bit different. I was watching, basically I learned some new information today and about binge eating disorder and all that stuff, and it was actually a very unexpected piece of information that it didn't make me completely change my opinions on eating disorders and binge eating and all that stuff, but it was significant enough that I thought it did warrant making not only a new video that's dedicated completely to this, which I haven't done in a while, but a super awesome 20-slide PowerPoint presentation, which is super ghetto, but I'm going to make this video because I think this is important, and as far as I know, nobody has presented this information packaged like this and drawn these conclusions that I have come to. Okay, so maybe this will be helpful for you if you have binge eating disorder, or maybe not. I'm not really sure. If you know, if you watch this entire video and you think this makes sense, like it clicks in your head, then I would encourage you to share this with somebody who also might be struggling with this, because I present this information in a very practical, logical way. I'm not going to yell at you, don't worry. This is not like to make you feel bad or anything. This is honestly just like looking at it as a problem and finding a solution. Okay, so we're going to just jump right into this right now. I'm really sorry, my presentation is super ghetto, but hopefully my sexy voice and beautiful face will help to make up for it. Okay, so the bottom line, all right, we'll just jump right into it. This is how you beat it. Okay, number one, exercise with resistance training. Number two, stop eating below maintenance. Okay, stop under eating. And we'll go into this in some later slides, but basically when you under eat or you eat below your maintenance, you are slowing your metabolism. Okay, your body is going to consistently get used to eating smaller amounts of food, and you're going to slow your metabolism because your body's going to get less and less used to eating food, and you're going to lose some muscle, which is going to further slow your metabolism. Okay, that's one side of the problem. The third thing is to choose the right foods. We're going to paraphrase this and say meat and eggs for now. We'll go into this more in some future slides, but I just want to make that point. Number four is eat once a day. Okay, you're going to be doing OMAD, which means eating at night. Well, what I'm recommending is to eat at night. Okay. Well, again, we'll go into all this later. I just kind of want to give you the bird's eye view. I don't want to get caught up in the explanations as to why. And number five, this is the most important one, and this is what I realized, or this is what I learned today that actually made me want to watch this video. Something I wasn't actually exposed to until today. Stop feeling guilty when you eat unhealthy food. Okay, this is something that never really occurred to me, but it is actually very important to this entire process, I think. Okay, why you should or shouldn't listen to me. All right, not a doctor, not a health professional. I'm actually really just kind of like a fitness bro who makes videos on YouTube and has been interested in health and fitness for most of my life. I'm like a hobbyist. Okay, this is not like official recommendation, so if you're looking for like studies and stuff like that, you're not really going to find it here. However, what I have been doing for the past few weeks is analyzing mukbang / what I eat in a day / eating disorder YouTubers. I kind of just fell into this. Somebody asked me, I don't even remember how I really got into this. Somebody asked me to do a video looking at Stephanie Buttermore. Okay, and I made a video on her where I analyzed one of her cheat days, and I didn't even really think about it at the time, but I just kind of watched the video. And I don't watch a lot of YouTube. I don't really know, or I didn't know who all these influencers are. Now, sadly, I do, but at the time I had no idea who these people are or anything about them, so I was just kind of watching it as a casual observer who happens to know a lot about health and fitness and how to be healthy, let's just say. So I watched the Stephanie Buttermore video, and then people started recommending other videos by, for example, Always Hungry, Natasha Ocean, all these mukbangers, and essentially you have a lot of girls who had eating disorders or struggled with eating disorders or something like that, and now they do cheat days and mukbangs, and it's kind of a mess, to be honest with you. But what I realized after watching, I've done maybe about 70 of these videos at this point, and what I kind of realized after watching all of these is that you have a lot of patterns, a lot of things that are common to them, which I interpreted one way before, which we'll get into in the next slide, but again, like I said, since I realized the whole guilt thing, now I have like a basically what I consider to be a full solution to this problem. Okay, so my solution is based on anecdotal reports from these people. Aside from one study, as far as I think, there might be more that I'll reference later, but I can only really think of one specific one. This is pretty much just my observations from people's anecdotal reports. Okay, so if you're the type of person that you need scientific studies before you do anything and you won't try anything without a doctor, might not be the video for you. But if you're open to, let's just say, I don't know, trying something that is recommended by several people, or able to kind of piece together bits and pieces of several people's experience to come to your own conclusions and just kind of create something for yourself, then maybe you'll find this is helpful. Okay, so what I used to think. Now, I don't want this to like offend any of you who have an eating disorder or something like that. This was my initial reaction when I was watching all of these mukbang / eating disorder videos from people. Okay, so like, again, no offense to anybody out there. To be fair, I do still think that a lot of these are true. I think honestly all of them are true. Like, again, no offense to any of you. However, I don't think that this shows the entire picture of what's going on here. And I think one of the main things, like one of the main contributing factors to eating disorders is rarely mentioned, and it doesn't appear here. Okay, so number one, addicted to victim mentality. I just want to go over these quickly. Like, again, like I said, this is not to like badger you or make you feel bad. I'm just telling you what I used to think, and you'll notice that it's missing something. Anyway, addicted to victim mentality. This whole eating disorder thing is like it's like a status symbol at this point, especially on YouTube. You have a lot of very beautiful girls who have great bodies who talk about, oh, I had an eating disorder, I have an eating disorder, and it's like it's glamorized at this point. So you have essentially, this is my interpretation, what the effect is that a lot of people aspire to this unconsciously, right? They're like, well, this beautiful girl on YouTube has an eating disorder. She does these cheat days. She seems to be laughing and having fun and being a strong person. She's so beautiful. You kind of idolize these people, okay? Which is, it's not good. And that's only kind of one, you go to therapy and people are giving you all this attention, and it's like, the victim mentality, like there's a lot of positive things that go along with it, a lot of negative as well, but there's also a lot of positive. And I think to deny that is to not really take an honest look at it. Okay, so number two, have poor health values. All right, what this means basically is that you have, I guess, the wrong idea. You have basically the incorrect beliefs about what being healthy is. Okay, for example, I see a lot of eating disorder people. They don't want to eat any meat. They think meat will make them fat. They don't really do any resistance training, and they don't. Essentially, what it comes down to is under eating, right? What I mentioned earlier, where you under eat and slow your metabolism as a result of losing the muscle, and then also choosing the wrong foods to binge on. Okay, when you choose foods that are not nutrient dense, essentially not like anything that's processed or not natural, you are there's a lot of bad stuff that is related to that. I don't think I really need to tell you like what's wrong with eating processed food, but there's a lot of bad stuff, like it triggers dopamine release in your brain. It's easier to eat lots of it. It's not healthy. It's like it doesn't make you full, it makes you fat. Like there's a ton of reasons. Okay, and also you guys don't do too much resistance training from what I've seen, or if you do the resistance training, you don't eat enough of the right foods afterwards. Okay, so number three, don't make the right food choices. This is kind of what I mentioned earlier, but if you don't make the right food choices, for example, eating lots of nutrient dense foods, again, like I said, meat, eggs, chicken, fish, that type of thing, then you are, number one, not going to get full when you do eat, which is one of the reasons why you do binge so much, because you're actually not full, because your body doesn't have the nutrients that you want. Maybe your stomach is full, but you've eaten a lot of food and your body's saying to itself, okay, there's a lot of food here, but I'm still missing this, this, and this, so let's eat more. I'm still hungry. Okay, eating too often. This is basically what comes down to eating several meals throughout the day. You'll see in one of the later slides that I personally recommend OMAD, which stands for 1 meal a day, which will be eaten at night. Okay, the reason for this is because well, we'll get into this later, but basically when you eat too often, you are spiking your insulin several times throughout the day. Okay, insulin is a hormone that does a lot of stuff, but it's going to make your body store fat. So even if you're eating smaller amounts of food, the resulting spikes in insulin are going to make you store more fat, as opposed to if you only eat one meal a day. But we'll get into that later. Lack discipline and a reason to succeed. This is also important. I really used to emphasize this a lot. I do think a lot, and again, no offense to any of you who are watching this, but I think a lot of teenage or even older girls are lacking discipline when it comes to this, which I think, now that I think about it, is strongly correlated to the victim mentality. Like, why would you be so disciplined when you're getting so many kind of peripheral benefits from being a victim? People are nice to you, they pay attention to you. If you have an eating disorder, like literally nobody's going to be mean to you. Like everybody's basically supportive about that, right? Because it's if you don't look at it too deeply, it's a bad thing to be so afraid of food, right? And a reason to succeed, this could be something as basic as like the example that I give is like, if you live by a beach, you're going to be in better shape than if you don't live by a beach. Why? Because you take your clothes off all the time, you go to the beach, people look at you and you want to look good. Okay, that's a basic example, but that's one example. Romanticizing their poor choices. This is kind of related to number one, addicted to the victim mentality. All these YouTubers that have all these they're like famous basically because they have an eating disorder and they do these cheat meals and all that stuff. That's part of it. And also, I see, I watch a couple of YouTubers now, and they'll talk about these like tears in their eyes, and they just dramatize the whole eating disorder thing instead of looking at it practically, which is what I'm going to kind of show you in this video. Don't exercise enough. This is kind of related to what I said here, number two, which is that you guys aren't doing enough resistance training. Okay, specifically, like most people think of it as lifting weights. So let's just say lifting weights for now. But at least lifting weights, or maybe you do like a lot of cardio. You're one of these people who like starves themselves, doesn't eat enough, and just like run everywhere, right? So you're slowly slowing your metabolism and like reducing your muscle. It's not good. Okay, are making things more complicated than they need to be. Obviously, like you'll see in one of the later slides that it's very simple, and this is how I live my life and how I'm able to retain what I think to be a very high level of fitness without paying pretty much any thought to it at all throughout the day, which essentially is the goal. Okay, new information that made me think. Today, actually, I watched a video by Greg, Kinobody, which was titled How to Overcome Your Binge Eating Disorder Once and For All, something like that. And basically in the video, he makes a couple points, and he was it was one of these videos where you're like walking around and talking. He didn't have like a presentation like I have here. Not that I never do shit like this, by the way, just to like show you how seriously I'm taking this. Anyways, just like walking around and talking, and he made a very interesting point in the beginning, which was that he said, before I made this video, I had a Magnum ice cream bar, and I don't feel guilty about it, right? He like worked it into his calories. He ate the ice cream bar. He's totally like fine with it. It's not like ruining his day. And he said that that's the goal. And when I heard that, it made sense. I'd never thought of it in that way, but that's true. That is the goal for somebody who struggles with binge eating. Okay. It's not that you become the type of person that you never eat these foods, because that's not realistic. Okay. Nobody who lives in the West who has access to these foods is never going to eat them again. Or if there are people like that, you can count them on one hand. Okay. And to that point, most people who are fit, and I would say that this guy's pretty fit, most people that are fit, of course you want to indulge in stuff like that from time to time, maybe even every day, which is possible. But the difference is that you don't feel guilty. Okay. So like I said, the goal is to be able to eat unhealthy foods without feeling guilty. It's very important. And what he said next was kind of this new information that I thought was worth making this video about, which is that he cited a study where they took two groups of people to an all-you-can-eat buffet. And the first group of people, they told them, like, go ahead, have the buffet, have fun, have a good time, enjoy yourself, and that's it. The second group of people, they tried to make them feel guilty by emphasizing how unhealthy it was. So they said, like, okay, we're gonna have this buffet, there's a lot of unhealthy food here, you probably shouldn't eat it, it's like super bad for you, but go ahead, why not? And what they noticed is that the group that they made feel guilty about it, they ate like I'm paraphrasing him. He said like 50% more calories. I'm not not sure if those numbers are exact, but they ate a considerable amount of more calories, okay? And when I heard that, I thought about my own experience binging, and I'm sure something you guys can relate to as well, which is that as soon as you eat your first unhealthy food item, let's call it, all of a sudden you think to yourself, well, I screwed up my diet for the day. I'm already not going to be healthy today, so I might as well go crazy today, and tomorrow I'll just like start fresh again. Okay, and then you run into the danger of cycle repeating itself. Okay, and then the next point, I think he made this point, right? Or this might be something that I inserted into this. I'm not really sure, but basically, under eating plus binging is a cycle that leads to weight gain and stress. Okay, so basically, what happens with like people who have this binge eating problem is that you under eat a lot, right? You eat below maintenance. And then what happens is you're so stressed out that you're eating below maintenance for so long that one day you just like crack and you're like, fuck it. Like, you know what? You have like a bite of a cookie or something. And that one bite or one food item that you eat makes you kind of like triggers your guilt a little bit. And you're like, well, I fucked up. I had that ice cream sandwich, so I might as well go crazy. And you just like get out of control and you binge, and it's like you're going from one extreme to another basically, and neither of the extremes are healthy. And then the next point that he made, I think, is that avoiding guilt is key to avoiding binging. All right, and the point here is not to avoid the unhealthy foods entirely, which is kind of along the lines of what I would say in some of my earlier videos, where I'm basically like yelling at people, telling them to like avoid the unhealthy foods, which in my simplified way of understanding things, that was the simplest solution. But what he said in this video, it's not necessarily avoiding the unhealthy foods, which should be done. Okay, I'm not saying you can eat as much unhealthy food as you want, just not feel guilty about it. The point here is to avoid the guilt when you eat the unhealthy foods, which I guess brings me to my next point. Proper habits need to be in place to prevent the guilt. Okay, now again, I think I'm putting words in his mouth here. I don't think that he actually said this explicitly, but basically the point is this, is that you can't recommend to somebody who's fat and out of shape and eats the wrong food and basically has no healthy habits to begin with. You can't go to them and say, don't feel guilty when you eat bad food, right? Because what'll happen, they'll use that as justification to eat the bad food as kind of like a social bulletproof vest, whatever, to be like, well, you know, this guy on the internet said that I can eat whatever I want and not feel guilty about it, so fuck it, I'm gonna eat whatever I want, right? That's not the solution, because there's no proper habits in place to kind of help the person absorb that, and more importantly, there's no proper habits in place to help counterbalance the negative effects of eating the unhealthy food, okay? All right, so the bottom line, if feeling guilty while binging will make you eat more, then the solution is to stop feeling guilty while binging. Okay, this is kind of the point that I made in the last slide, right? You can't, like, ideally you won't feel guilty, but the way to not feel guilty is to not just say to yourself, oh, I'm not gonna feel guilty anymore. The way to stop feeling guilty, is it on this slide? Yeah, okay, so people, right, all right, so I said this already. People who have poor health choices will take that out of context. They'll use it as an excuse to eat whatever they want and just get fatter and in worse shape. And then I guess, you know, well, Mr. Handsome said I shouldn't feel guilty when I eat an entire box of Oreos, so I'm going to do it, right? That's why I'm stressing here that proper habits need to be in place for you to be able to eat these unhealthy food items and occasionally even binge, okay? Eat a box of cookies, whatever. Or go ahead and do it a cheat day, right? But if you don't have the proper habits in place, it's not going to work. So you need these proper habits. Okay, so this is where I'm branching off from Kinobody, Greg, his recommendations, because he says count calories and like all this other stuff. I don't say that. I'm not going to get into what he says. I'm just going to focus on what I say, because this is what I believe is the best thing to do at this point in my own development, okay? And the reason is right here, is because it requires no thinking, okay? Not that I'm a simple person, but I've said this in many of my videos, I don't care about fitness, I don't care about health. Not that I don't care about it, I just don't want to think about it, right? I feel like I've like got it figured out, because it essentially comes down to these 5 things right here. And as long as I know that I'm doing these 5 general things, I don't have to agonize over every single little detail, which is, from what I've seen of all these like eating disorder YouTubers, seems to be the case with people who have an eating disorder. You're like obsessed with food. Like you think about nothing else. And I'm assuming, like, you know, I can't put words in his mouth, but Kinobody and probably most other people are super fit and healthy. They don't think about it anymore. Okay, so what are they? OMAD, eating 1 meal a day, eating nutrient-dense foods, right? Like I said, meat, eggs, chicken, pork, foods that are basically like when you eat them, you're getting, I guess, you're getting lots of minerals, vitamins, enzymes, like basically like all of the stuff that you need kind of in one place. Okay, I'm not saying like basically like being a vegan, I think is very hard to be healthy and be a vegan. Interesting. I don't want to get off on a tangent here, but you do see a lot of people have eating disorders who go to veganism because they have those improper habits and I think poor beliefs, in my opinion. Number 3, resistance training. Okay, we'll get into why this is important later, but short version is that when you do resistance training, you'll build muscle. When you build muscle, you will speed up your metabolism because the more muscle you have, the more calories you'll burn while you're not doing anything. And you'll also look better and feel better. Ignoring calories and macros. Okay, I believe that when you are eating nutrient-dense foods that you can have as much as you want, you can eat until you're full, and you do not need to count your calories and your macros and obsessively measure your food and stuff like that. I don't think that's necessary. If you're a physique competitor, which none of you probably are, but if you are, I guess you could make that argument. But if you're not, I think it's unnecessary. And sun exposure, I kind of just threw this one in there. I'm not really going to go over this in this presentation, but I think it is important to get some sun. I think it does a lot of good stuff for you, and I just from personal experience, if I don't get any sun, I'm not a happy camper. Okay, why do proper habits matter? If feeling guilty when you binge leads to a large binge, and proper habits destroy or reduce the guilt that you experience when binging, then that means proper habits will destroy or reduce binges. Okay, it's one of these things. It's like if A equals B and B equals C, then A equals C. Does that make sense? I should have written that here, but basically if this equals this, if A equals B and what is this? B equals C, well, whatever. I guess it doesn't quite work out like that, but you get what I'm saying, right? If you feel guilty, if feeling guilty when you binge leads to large binges, then the solution is to not feel guilty when you binge, right? And the way that you don't feel guilty when you binge is when you have all of these other habits in place that will remove the guilt from binging, okay? Like Kinobody said in his video, right? That is the goal, to be able to eat these foods and not feel guilty. Okay, and to that point, healthy, fit people binge and eat unhealthy food all the time without feeling guilty. Again, like I said, I can't put words in anybody's mouth. However, he did mention in his video, he ate the Magnum ice cream bar. He did say that he eats unhealthy food. He works it in all the time. Doesn't eat anything he wants, but he works in specific types of unhealthy foods when he feels like it, which it sounds frequently, right? It's not like once a month or anything like that. And speaking from personal experience, I do this also. Every night after I eat my meal, I'll go and I can get something sweet. I'll get something that you quote unquote should not eat, but I won't let it turn into a binge because I have all these other healthy habits in place. And again, this is just, why do they not eat this, feel guilty? Because they have the good habits that make this binge/undereating cycle a poor choice. Okay, so how to put it together. What does this mean? If the guilt equals extreme binges, if feeling guilty when you binge equals an extreme binge, and healthy people don't have the guilt during binges, that means that healthy people don't have extreme binges. Or if they do, they have them in much less frequency, and they also have all of these other healthy habits to make up for it, if that makes sense. A very simplified way of putting this is to think to yourself, if you have lots of healthy habits, you can binge more and eat whatever you want, basically, and the negative effects won't be as pronounced, right? For example, if you take somebody who doesn't work out, they undereat, they binge on shitty food, and they're just not active, a binge for them is going to be much worse than a binge, let's say for somebody like Kinobody or somebody like me, who's fit, healthy, work out all the time, and eat mostly clean food. Does that make sense? So the proper habits are important. Okay, so let's break into the things that I recommend specifically and why. OMAD, why 1 meal a day? Because when you only eat 1 meal a day, your body is enabled, you can, autophagy happens in your body, right? So I don't want to get into this whole thing about autophagy. You guys can look that up on your own. But basically the way that you can think of autophagy, a very simplified explanation, is burning lots of stored fat and basically like cleaning out your entire body from like all of the shit that builds up over time. And if you are eating frequent meals throughout the day, then it's more likely, especially if you're not active, that you have a lot of shit built up in your body. Not actual shit, maybe actual shit, but like you have a lot of like bad stuff built up that your body needs to get rid of. So by only eating one meal a day, your body has a lot of extra time that it's not digesting food, that it can, you know, do autophagy, right? And basically the bottom line is like it'll lean you out and you'll get thinner, like in a healthy way. Number 2, a short eating window means less of a chance of binging. Okay, so for example, if you say to yourself that, let's take a slightly extreme example. Well, let's say 22-2, right? Let's say you're going to fast for 22 hours a day and you're going to spend 2 hours a day eating. And in that 2-hour eating window, I'm not going to say you can eat whatever you want, but you're only going to eat within that 2-hour window, okay? Even if you eat pure shit during that 2 hours, then number 1, you're going to be able to eat less food overall, because 2 hours is a lot less than like, you know, 6 meals throughout the day or whatever it is, or constantly eating without thinking about it. And number 2, if you're filling up on healthy foods, then like by the time you're actually full, you're going, like your capacity to binge is going to be much less, right? I don't care if you're one of these people that thinks they have like a massive appetite, unlimited capacity to binge, but if you stuff yourself on nutrient dense foods, it's going to be much harder for you to binge. Okay, so eating before bed means less opportunity to binge. You just have less time overall because you have to go to sleep. And you're also able to eat a massive meal without feeling guilty. Okay, when you're fasted for 22 or 23 or 20 hours a day, all of that time your body is burning fat. Okay, it's digesting all of the food that you've eaten, and it's burning fat once all of that food is digested. Okay, it's not starvation mode. Like, don't buy into all that stuff. Starvation mode happens, or what you think to be starvation mode, slowing your metabolism and all that, that happens when you eat under maintenance. Okay, there's a difference between fasting and eating several meals throughout the day under maintenance. That's very bad. Okay, this is good. OMAD is good. Extreme hunger makes it easier to eat healthy foods. Okay, when you are starving, like actually starving, you will eat anything. Okay, if you're super hungry, you haven't eaten anything all day, and I present you with a healthy food choice that you normally wouldn't eat, you will gobble that up like it's your job. You won't care. The way that we get in trouble with binging is that not necessarily that we're starving and we eat something that's not good for us, is that we're just bored, right? You're just like bored. You're like, well, I'm kind of bored. I'm not really that hungry, but I kind of feel like eating something that tastes good, okay? Which is different than extreme hunger, which has this like bad reputation these days. Oh, okay, why nutrient dense foods? Sorry, I just need some water. Just give me a sec. All right, nutrient dense foods, what are they? Meat, eggs, raw dairy, and raw cheese if you can get your hands on it. But basically anything natural and unprocessed, okay? I say here anything natural and unprocessed. These can include things like fruits, vegetables, nuts, beans, whatever. However, I will say that I highly recommend that you eat 90% of your calories basically from meat and eggs. Okay, dairy you can work in there if you can find raw dairy. Most store-bought dairy is not raw, and the same with cheese. Most of it is not raw cheese. And when I say raw, I mean it comes from raw milk. Most of it is pasteurized, homogenized, which means processed, which is not good. Okay, all of these like fake vegan milks and cheeses and honeys and stuff like that, that's all fake. That's all processed, I guess is what I mean. So bottom line, stick to meat, stick to eggs. These are the foods. And okay, and why? More filling. You will get full faster on less calories. So let me give you an example, right? Let's say you have a situation, you're hungry, you want to eat something. Let's say you decide to eat meat, okay? Let's say just you decide to eat a steak and you actually eat it. You're going to get fuller faster, and your body's going to have more of what it needs on that steak, as opposed to if you like, you know, whatever, eat like I don't know, what do people eat these days? Like a bagel or like a sandwich, or you know, like a grilled cheese sandwich or toast or whatever. The problem with that is that there's a lot less nutrients in the like unhealthy food, and you won't really be satisfied. Okay, not only will it kind of like make you want to taste more food that like tastes like, I don't know, sugar, I guess, but you actually won't get full as fast. Whereas if you stuff yourself on meat, if you actually stuff yourself on meat, you're not going to get fat, and you will be stuffed. You will not want to eat anymore. Or if you do want to have something like sweet after a meal, you'll be satisfied with like a small piece of chocolate. Okay, healthier. Obviously, nutrient-dense foods are healthier. Like this whole idea that somehow meat is bad for you, like it's natural. Okay, what's actually bad for you is processed food. Like a fake veggie burger or soy burger or like, I don't know, like cashew almond milk or something, or like all of this food that's not really food, comes in like colorful packaging. That's unhealthy, right? Nobody's going to say that anything natural is unhealthy. And if you do, I encourage you to examine that like in more detail, preferably by trying it yourself. Also cheaper. All these things are cheap, okay? Meat is cheap, right? You go to a butcher, you can buy a pound of meat for like $5, okay? Eggs, obviously very cheap. Raw dairy might be a little bit more expensive, like raw milk and all that, but still, in the grand scheme of things, it's very cheap. Raw cheese you can find at Trader Joe's, also cheap. So all this stuff is actually, like anything natural at the store is going to be cheaper than something processed, okay? Okay, finally, it's not going to spike your insulin. All of these foods are low on the glycemic index. Glycemic index is a scale of how quickly and how sharply certain foods will cause your blood sugar to increase, or spike your insulin, as it's known. So spiking your insulin is generally bad for most people, unless you're like a bodybuilder, which none of you are. So it's very bad, all right? And you don't want, or you want to control your insulin levels as much as possible. And the way you do that is by eating foods that are low on the glycemic index, which all of these are, in contrast to foods that are high on the glycemic index, which is sugar, flour, anything processed really, just like, you know, shitty processed food that you would eat, ice cream, whatever. Oh, okay, why resistance training? Resistance training builds muscle. Obviously, we went over that earlier. The more muscle you have, the higher your metabolism will be. The more muscle you have, yeah, okay, so I said that. The faster metabolism, the more calories you'll burn while doing nothing. Also, you feel very good. Okay, when you do resistance training, oh God, my back hurts. When you do resistance training, you get like an endorphin release, makes your body release endorphins, which makes you feel good. Also, I don't know about you ladies out there, but like, you know, men, we don't like the like skeleton look. It's not like a good look, right? Most men, we prefer to have a woman to have like a little bit of muscle on her. It's very sexy, right? It's very like, have like, what makes nice legs? It's not like sticks, okay? It's not like two like toothpicks. That's not nice. That doesn't look good. It's like when you can see kind of like the muscle outline of the thighs, right? Or, you know, a nice like bubble ass or whatever. What is that bubble? It's not fat, it's muscle. How do you build that muscle? Not by starving yourself, okay? So like, you kind of need to do the resistance training, in my opinion. I also personally, this is my preference, I think abs are sexy on a woman. And I just think toned, defined muscles look good to look at. Also tells me a little bit more about her character, in my opinion. Maybe I'm a jerk, I don't know. Why ignore calories and macros? Okay, so this whole thing about counting your calories, counting your macros, this is something that a lot of people will recommend. I personally think it's unnecessary if you are choosing the right nutrient-dense foods. Like I said, if you are eating most of your calories from beef, chicken, fish, pork, like foods that you actually should be eating, the nutrient-dense foods, like I said, I think counting calories is unnecessary because you will naturally eat until you're full and you won't want to eat anymore. I don't think there's any point in restricting the amount of calories at that point. Again, like I said, unless you're training to be a physique competitor, like, you know, or you're trying to achieve a certain look beyond like what most of you are probably trying to achieve. Like I'm talking like professional, like world-class physique. Okay, so I don't think that's necessary. Nutrient-dense foods have a lot of nutrients, you know, vitamins, minerals, enzymes, stuff that is lacking in most processed food. Virtually all processed food doesn't have any of that. Protein, obviously, meat, chicken, fish, eggs has a lot of protein, has a lot of healthy fats as well. Okay, so again, this whole counting calories, counting macros thing, a lot of people do like a cursory amount of research and they think that they need to avoid fat because fat has 9 calories per gram. She's like, oh my God, this has 9 calories per gram. I can't eat that. I have to eat other things. Okay, however, there is like a lot of good stuff in healthy fats. Like, you know, that now they've shown that like cholesterol is good for you, and like, you know, healthy fats like egg yolks, for example, is all kinds of like good stuff that's good for you. Just leave it at that. Do your own research or just try it. Also, these foods are more filling. Okay, like nutrient dense foods, they're going to fill you up. Okay, all these like 10,000 calorie challenges are ridiculous because these people eat trash food. Okay, no offense to any of them, but if you watch, I've got 2 videos on my channel at this moment right now. I've got one John Venus 10,000 calorie fruit challenge, and another one by Live Life where he does a 10,000 calorie healthy food challenge. Okay, those are actual challenges. Those are extremely difficult. Okay, and any of these girls who think they have a large appetite, like again, not to pick on Stephanie Buttermore again, but I would like to see her, or I'm not like challenging her or anything, but I just think it's a misconception that anybody can eat all of this food if it's actually nutrient dense. Does that make sense? Also, nobody gets fat from eating natural foods. Like, I don't care how much meat you eat. Like, what's the problem? If you eat, if your definition of meat is McDonald's, okay, then you're going to get fat. Why? Because nobody goes and gets only the patty at McDonald's, right? You get the burger, which is bread, which is ketchup, right? Mayonnaise, all this stuff. And you get the burger, you get the fries, right? You get the burger, you get the fries, you get the Coke or the Diet Coke, right? It's still going to spike your insulin. And then you get dessert. And then once you've had McDonald's, you got the same guilty binging thing happening again. Okay, so don't lump meat in there with McDonald's, okay? If we're talking lean cuts of chicken, lean cuts of fish, lean cuts of beef, pork, all that stuff is good for you if you eat it like that, in my opinion. And again, to reiterate, natural foods are foods that are found in nature, in case somehow that wasn't clear to some of you. And again, like I said, all these like fake processed vegan, like, okay, cashew milk is not found in nature. Cashews are found in nature. Therefore, you can eat cashews, do not eat cashew milk. Again, cashew milk is not bad for you per se, but you know, just stick to the meat is basically what I'm trying to say. I don't want to make it too complicated. Okay, questions, or I guess common concerns. OMAD does not equal starvation, all right? A lot of people are hesitant to do OMAD because they think that if they don't eat all day, they will go into starvation mode. I touched on this earlier, but there is a difference between fasting, which will have your body go through the process of autophagy, which will burn fat and like release growth hormone and like do all this really good stuff for you. And there's a difference between that and eating 5 to 6 meals a day and staying under maintenance, okay? The first way, OMAD, autophagy, all that stuff is good for you, will burn a lot of fat, and will preserve your muscle, which is the most important part. And when you're able to preserve your muscle and burn fat, you're able to keep your metabolism high. If you eat lots of small meals throughout the day and you stay under maintenance that way, what you're doing is you're training your body to get used to eating less food. And as a result, you're going to lose some muscle doing that. And you're also going to feel like shit. Okay, let's start there also. You're going to feel bad. Whereas when you do OMAD, you're going to feel good. Okay, that hunger, once you get used to it, is very energizing. And what I like to think every time I feel hungry during the day, because when I do OMAD, I feel hungry. Like right now, I don't know what time it is. I think it's like 6:30 at night. I haven't eaten anything. Okay, and I ran 7 miles today. I'm starving. But you see how I talk, right? Do I seem like I'm like about to fall over and like fall asleep? No, I've been up since 7 o'clock this morning. I ran 7 miles. I recorded 7 videos today in addition to this one. And now I'm doing this video, which will probably run like, I don't know, 40 minutes or something. I have a lot of energy. I'm starving. And after I eat, I'll probably like lie in bed for a couple hours and watch cartoons. But right now I'm fine. Okay. Okay. Second misconception, meat will not make you fat. Okay, or I guess meat will make you fat is the misconception. From what I understand from watching a lot of these eating disorder videos, there's a common misconception from all these girls that meat will make them fat, which is why you see a lot of girls who have eating disorders naturally gravitate towards being vegan. Okay, no offense to any of these girls, I'm not calling any of them out in particular, but what it seems to me is that a lot of these girls decide to be vegan because they think that it's going to make them skinny. Okay, it's not about the animals. I'm sure they love animals. I love animals too. But I don't think they're going vegan for any sort of ethical reason. I think they're just concerned with what they look like and how much they weigh. And they think that by going vegan, it'll make it easier for them to lose weight and get the body that they want. Because they won't have the option of eating meat. They won't like be tempted. Okay. However, meat will not make you fat, right? If you eat, like I said, 90% of your calories from meat, you will not be fat. I like to recommend eating raw meat. I know that's probably like a crazy idea for most of you. However, I have eaten a lot of raw meat. I just started doing this past like 8 months, never experienced any sort of like bacterial infection, never gotten salmonella, never even really had like bad digestion from it at all. tons of energy in the gym. It's just like amazing in every single way. I won't recommend that for you. I mean, I will recommend that. Like that's ideal, but I think even like, are you really going to do that? Like that makes it sound crazy. Or just he cooked me is the point. Okay, resistance training won't make you a man. A lot of you girls, you think that like I said earlier, the skeleton look is somehow attractive for some reason. I'm not sure why. No man will tell you that it is, unless they're just like fucking with you and being a dick. But generally, we like our girls to have like a little bit of meat on their bones. However, what that means to you probably means something different to us, okay? What I mean by that is like, we like a girl to have like a nice bubble ass, right? Which you're not gonna have if you look like a skeleton. Again, no offense to anybody, don't think I'm a dick by talking like this. I'm just trying to speak in the most direct way. Okay, most men, we like girls that have like some sort of shape back there. Okay, we also like legs that have some sort of definition. Like I'm pretty sure, I could be wrong, but I think it's rare for a guy to like a girl's leg if it's just like a tube of like flesh with no definition. Like you can't tell where like the thigh starts and it ends, you know what I mean? We want to be like a little bit of lines there. I'm not saying you need to have like veins popping out or anything, but like a little definition is good, you know what I mean? And in my opinion, same thing with the upper body. Like I like to see a girl with abs. I see it as a sign of health. I don't see it as anything bad. And I'm not talking like a girl who's like, you know, looks like she just escaped from Auschwitz, right? And I'm not saying that in terms of abs. That doesn't mean if you look like that, you look good, right? I'm talking like a girl who obviously trains in the gym and has a low enough body fat percentage that you're able to see her abs, or even like a slight outline of them. And I also would encourage you to kind of abandon this idea that like, you know, being able to see your abs is somehow unhealthy and you'll lose your period, because every occasion where I've seen a girl who's done that, they look like what they've been doing is the under eating several small meals throughout the day and eating under maintenance. Okay, I've never seen a girl who's been doing OMAD or fasting and eating nutrient dense food who's lost her period. Okay, so resistance training, very good. And again, counting calories is pointless if you're eating the right foods. Like I mentioned earlier, I don't think this is necessary if you're eating the right foods. Okay, if you're eating the right foods, like I said, 90% of your calories from meat once a day in a 2-hour window, you don't need to count anything, okay? If you're active, if you're doing OMAD and your like autophagy is going all day, if you're training in the gym, you're lifting weights, you're building muscle, you're changing what your body actually looks like, and then you're stuffing yourself on meat, that's not bad. That is very good, in my opinion. And I think counting calories is it's just stupid. Again, like I said, unless you're a physique competitor and you need to have it like super dialed in to achieve that look. But if you are doing that, then you're also doing like a ton of other stuff that you like random like eating disorder girls are not going to do at all. Like it's a lot of work. You're not going to do it. Okay. Why does this work? Okay, so these habits that I recommend, they work because they leave less room for you to eat processed foods. Okay, for example, let's say I'll take my day for example. All right, so today I woke up at 9. I had a cup of coffee in the morning, which I don't think is a big deal, and I had another cup of coffee in the middle of the day. Also, I don't think it's a big deal. Maybe a couple grams of sugar, not the end of the world. And now, like I said, it's 6:30, probably close to 7 o'clock. And this entire time, because I've said to myself, essentially, I'm not going to eat throughout the day, that entire 12-hour block of time, there's absolutely no risk at all of me binging on anything. And don't think that because like I'm a fit guy or whatever, that like I don't enjoy binging also. I love that shit, right? If I wasn't doing OMAD and I was, I'd wake up and I'd eat breakfast, right? And then like, okay, maybe I have a snack later, and then I have lunch, and then another snack, and then I have dinner, right? That's 5 additional opportunities for me to think to myself, you know what? I ate my food. I'm still kind of hungry. I want to eat something sweet. Fuck it. I might as well go get a candy bar or Kit Kat or like anything. Like literally anything that can kind of throw me off. Honestly, even sometimes when I have like a Diet Coke, right? It gets like anything sweet like that. I'm basically like, well, fuck it. I had a Diet Coke. I might as well like go get a box of cookies or something, right? Which, and I'm sure you guys can relate to that, right? But what's the difference is that I completely rule out the possibility of me doing that by doing OMAD, okay? So right there, 12-hour block of time, let's say, no possibility that I binge. Okay, and then let's say I eat my meal at 7. and let's say I go to bed at 11, right? I eat my meal at 7. I stuff myself on raw meat or cooked meat, whatever, which is what I'm about to do as soon as this video is over. I stuff myself on cooked meat, and then I'm full. Let's say I eat until I'm full, basically, until I couldn't eat another bite of meat. Basically, is what I'm saying. If I stuff myself until I cannot eat another bite of meat, I'm not going to want to binge. Straight up, I'm not going to want to. I can even fucking have a Diet Coke, right? It's not going to maybe it make it more likely that I'll go get a candy bar later or something. But if I'm actually stuffed, if I'm full of meat, I'm not going to want to eat anything. Okay, and maybe you're thinking well, I've been full before, and I binged anyway until I was super full. Just try it this way. Okay, try stuffing yourself on meat. Okay, just try it. And like I said earlier, the nutrient-dense foods will make you be full faster and completely remove any desire to binge, which is really the point here. Oh, okay. Eating processed foods are unhealthy. Okay, so that's why OMAD works. Okay. Oh, basically, to finish the example, once I stuff myself on raw meat, if I do decide to get something later, candy bar, whatever, not only do I not even have enough time before I actually need to go to bed to binge, but I'm full. Okay. All right. Processed foods are unhealthy and make you feel guilty. Obvious. Once you eat one, you're going to feel guilty and you're going to say, fuck it, I'm just going to eat more. We covered that already. And again, guilt equals binging. If you have these habits in place, if you're doing OMAD and you're fasting throughout the day, right? That's a good habit to be burning fat for 22 hours. That's not going to happen if you're eating 6 meals a day, even if you're below maintenance, okay? It's much better to do OMAD and have autophagy going, in my opinion. All right, number one, you're doing that. You're stuffing yourself on raw meat, like actual natural food. That's another good thing, okay? What was the other stuff that I said? Doing resistance training, right? You've got all these additional habits in place that when you do decide to eat your candy bar or whatever your little snack is, you're not going to feel guilty about it, okay? And the guilt is what leads to the binge, okay? So if the guilt leads to the binge and having the habits prevents the guilt, then having the habits is going to prevent the binge, okay? I should have said this earlier, but I hope that makes sense. All right, so anyway, yeah, that's that last point right there. It can't be that simple. Yes, it can. I don't know. I'm not sure if you guys think this was simple or not, because I did go over a lot of stuff in this video that is generally more complex than a lot of the other videos that I make when I talk about this kind of thing. But like I said, when you kind of break it down like this and you identify what I believe to be the not the root of this, but an important factor that nobody seems to be talking about, which is the actual guilt. I think you simplify the entire process to a much greater degree. Oh my God. Anyway, just believe that it can be that simple. Okay, just believe that it is that simple, or that it can be that simple. But most importantly, just try it. Okay, so how to start. Now again, these are my personal recommendations. I'm not a doctor, blah, 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 but this is what works for me, and it works for me because it's so simple, right? Imagine, this is 4 things that you have to remember. Only 4 things, okay? If you have to count your calories, you have to go on MyFitnessPal, you have to whatever, prepare all this food and go shopping and do all this stuff, it's much likely that you're actually going to do it. Okay, so this is the practical shit right here. This is how you actually do this. Okay, you eat 1 meal a day. I would say between 6 and 7, assuming that you're waking up at a normal time. Let's say I eat my meal as early as 5 sometimes, and I eat it earlier if I'm feeling deprived and super hungry. Maybe I've had a super big workout that day and I'm fuck it, I'm gonna eat earlier. However, it's a good idea generally to wait until 6 to 7 p.m. to eat. Eat 90% of your calories from nutrient-dense foods. Went over that many times, beat it to death, but that's meat, chicken, fish, and eggs. This is not a chicken sandwich. This is not a burger from McDonald's. This is not sushi, okay? This is a fucking chicken breast, okay? This is a cut of meat, a cut of steak. This is, fucking a piece of fish, actual fish, all right? Let that be clear, please. Eggs, you guys know what eggs are. Potatoes are fine too, and all that stuff, but whatever. That's potatoes, rice, I guess, are okay for carbs, but 90% of your calories should be from this shit right here. Do resistance training 4 to 6 times a week. You should be doing cardio as well, but you should be training weights 4 to 6 times a week, probably closer to 6, because the argument is that if you're training very hard, you're going to want to train less, because you're going to need more time to recover. However, if you're watching this video and you even got this far and you have an eating disorder, I'm going to say that you probably are not familiar with what training that hard even feels like. However, I will say in the beginning, probably will take you a little bit of time to get used to training. So just take it slow at first, but what I would recommend is that you go more frequently, but just do workouts. Like, don't kill yourself in the gym the first couple of weeks, especially if you're deconditioned, okay? Ignore counting calories if you're eating 90% of your calories from the right foods. Okay, so we went over this, right? So basically, what do? Eat one meal a day, eat mostly meat, chicken, fish, and eggs, do resistance training, and I guess don't eat processed foods, which is implied here, I guess. What if I binge? All right, so if you eat 90% of your calories from the right foods, you, number one, won't want to binge because you'll be so full and essentially so satisfied, right? Binging comes from not feeling satisfied, right? Where you're like bored and you're like, you know what? I kind of want something right now to make me feel good. That's why I'm going to eat, okay? It's not because you're hungry, all right? Nobody binges because they're hungry. People binge because they want to feel good by putting something delicious in their mouth. That's it. So if you're satisfied and you don't have that desire, then you're not going to binge, or you'll want to binge less. And number two, you won't be able to binge as hard. And I went over this earlier, but number one, you'll be more satisfied. Your body will have more of what it needs, so it won't be telling you to be hungrier. And if you're doing OMAD, like you're not going to be able to binge as hard just because you won't have enough time. And you'll be full from the meat. Okay, number three, we'll be able to enjoy unhealthy snacks in moderation without feeling guilty. Yeah, like I said earlier, if you have all of these habits in place, binging won't be as big of a deal to you because you'll have all of these other things to counterbalance the effect of the occasional binge that you do. Why do I say occasional? Because number one, you're not going to want to binge, like I said before, because you're going to be stuffed, and you're not going to have as much time to binge as opposed to if you're eating all day. And if you're eating 90% of your foods, 90 calories from the right foods, you will learn to appreciate a strong body that performs well. Basically what this means is that when you're eating the right foods, you'll notice that your body composition changes. You will put on a little bit of muscle. You're not going to look like a man. You're going to look, in my opinion, much sexier and much healthier. You're just going to look like a healthy human being. And you will appreciate your new body and your new look, and you will notice the contrast of that new body and your new muscles compared to how you used to look, specifically when it comes to performance at the gym. Because once you start working out and doing resistance training, it'll become more fun to you, and you'll notice a clear connection between how you perform at the gym and what your body looks like, okay, which seems to be missing from a lot of like girls who have an eating disorder. Okay, what about discipline? All right, so all of this stuff about guilt and the proper habits and all that stuff, that does not discount what I said earlier about, let's call it like weakness in character, victim mentality. All that stuff is still true. So you will need some discipline to, to make this work. You do have to actually do it, okay, if that makes sense. There are, I think, a lot of dangers to I want to call it like buying into the eating disorder mentality. And I think that if you bought into that too much, like if you're too deep in the game, like you're too strongly identified with being like the eating disorder girl or something, which is what I see from a lot of girls. To be fair, girls like Kayla Rose Katecki, Natasha Ocean, those are girls that seem to have come back from it. Okay, they've gone to the dark side, they've like fallen into the abyss, and then slowly, however they did it, they kind of came back from it. Now they have healthy habits and they look good. Okay, and it's not a problem really for them anymore. But if you're like too addicted to that mentality and the positive attention that you're getting from being a victim, people being nice to you and whatever, never being mean to you, and like all this stuff. I'm not saying that you are. I'm not saying you're a bad person. Like I understand, right? But if you're too addicted to that, then whatever means to the end that you choose is less likely to work. Next thing is just try it, right? Just try it for a couple of weeks, right? Like how many diets have you tried? How many things have you tried that didn't work? Why don't you try mine? Because I'm not a doctor. Like just try it. I'm fit. Like I look good, I'm fit, I've been doing this for years, like this stuff makes sense. Like I don't even know how long this video is, but if you got this far, then obviously this makes sense to you. So try it for 2 weeks, Why not? You know, it's very simple. There's not a lot of moving parts here. And again, always try new things, right? In general, when it comes to fitness, right? Like there's certain YouTubers that I have a lot of respect for. Snake Diet Guy, for example, just the way he talks about health and fitness, you can tell that he's tried a lot of stuff and he's speaking about things based on his own experience. Another one is Dr. Mike, right? I just watched one of his videos for the first time today. He tries all these like 30-day experiments where he goes vegan and he does keto and like does all this stuff so that he's more educated on what it actually is, as opposed to drawing your information only from internet research or studies or like what people say in videos. In my opinion, personal experience trumps everything. Okay. Yeah, so try for 2 weeks, try new things. If you don't like it, you can always you can always go back to being miserable, which is true. Is this the last slide? Yeah, this is the last slide. So yeah, basically, like if what you're doing now is not working, and like I'm just going to be direct, like you look like shit, you feel like shit, and you're miserable all the time, just try my way. Why not? What do you have to lose? You're already miserable. You already hate your life. You're already out of shape. Just try it my way. Why not? You know, eat once a day. Fast all day, eat once a day, go to the gym and work out with weights, stuff yourself on meat at night, and that's it. That's actually it, okay? So anyway, if you got this far, thank you for watching this. Like I said in the beginning of the video, if you found this helpful and this makes sense to you and it like clicks with you, then I encourage you to share this video with other people who you think might be struggling with an eating disorder, who are actually looking for help and are not too bought in to the whole victim mentality thing. And then one final thing before I end this video is that, you know, I guess one of the reasons why I'm making this video today, after I've already made 7 other videos, and so soon after watching Kinobody's video, is that I feel a little bit guilty about how I talked about people who have an eating disorder in a lot of the videos that I have made in the past 3 weeks, okay? The reason is because I didn't understand the role that guilt played in this. It never occurred to me that guilt would essentially be would be a cause for binging or for extreme binging. Never occurred to me. But once I had that bit of information, everything else kind of clicked into place and fell into place. And I wanted to make this video as kind of, I guess, a way, not necessarily apologizing, but kind of like, I guess, to make up for how, I don't want to say insensitive, but let's call it insensitive, how insensitive I was to the whole eating disorder thing. Now again, like I said, I still believe that all of the stuff that I said earlier, what I used to believe, that one of those first slides, I think that stuff still stands. However, I think it's a mistake by, you know, the eating disorder industry to not put as much emphasis on reducing guilt through healthy habits, right? If that makes sense. So anyway, that's why I'm making this video. To all of the like eating disorder girls who I talk shit about and told you to basically just get over it, at the end of the day, like this trumps everything, right? But it's discipline for the right things, okay? Discipline for working out, discipline for doing OMAD and fasting all day, discipline for eating meat, I guess, in the beginning to like make yourself do it, if that makes sense. But honestly, final thought is that being healthy is easy, okay? It's easy, and I promise the last thing, this video is super long. Being healthy is easy, okay? Being sick is hard, all right? It's easy for me at this point to eat 1 meal a day and fast occasionally. Why? Because I have so many benefits from being healthy. I'm better looking, I'm leaner, I look better with my shirt off, I feel better, I perform better at the gym. Life is just really good, okay? All this stuff is easy because the benefits are so good. Being sick is not easy, okay? So if you choose to be healthy, highly recommend that you do it my way. This is free, not gonna charge you for my program. Like, share it with whoever you want, give it to them, and that's it. Peace, good luck. Oh, and if you have any questions, let me know, leave me a comment.